All right, we are live, and I'm here with my frequent sidekick, Artistic Layman.
Hello, everyone.
And we're going to be discussing some bug prostitute mechanics tonight.
Oh, yes, so interesting.
So, and I emailed this young lady, and I'm using that term in the loosest sense, but I emailed her and I invited her on as an interview. She has not responded. I know Luke tweeted, but that was just tonight we did, so that doesn't mean she's ignoring it. If she responds and that starts moving forward, I will extend the same courtesy to DSP. But I know he won't. He nigga wants $800 to be interviewed or some gay shit like that. But I'll invite him on nonetheless. So we'll see if in the next few days we might be able to hear this young lady spill out her story in its entirety. But right now, I just feel like talking about it anyways, because yeah. So Luke, could you maybe throw up the tweet with the strap on, which is a thing I just said, which is but yes, there it is. So and throw up the tweet if you could, like read out the tweet.
Just a minute. I'll get it right in a moment.
Because I'm not on the Twitter and you can't prove otherwise. Let me bring up some other stuff. Luke, I'm going to share in the chat. Oh, that picture I shared you from her website with the one bit of text highlighted. You can bring that up in a bit too. But so this young lady's name is Slut Kimberly, apparently. The most extreme escort date you will ever find. You can go to Slut Kimberly, Kimberly spelled with an IE at the end. slutkimberly.escortfiles.com for those of you playing at home. Boy. So the long and short of this is that she well let's read from her. She apparently was being paid by Phil for the girlfriend experience, and Phil just stiffed her. That, no pun intended, stiffed her financially, I should say. Yes, that's the one tweet where she alleges Phil liked the strap-on play. I don't know why that strap-on looks like it's made from fucking aluminum foil crumpled up, but all right.
I think it's just a black and white texture. It's wrapped in aluminum.
Is it actually aluminum foil?
No, it's on aluminum foil, but it looks like it's made of aluminum because of the reflection.
Okay.
For a minute there, I thought it was a black and white image.
It's got a really weird shape to it too. I don't know what's going on with that.
I'm sure imaginations can answer that.
That doesn't look like a human penis, is all I'm saying.
That's where the imagination comes in.
I'm no expert on different penises throughout the animal kingdom, but if I didn't know better, I'd swear that looked like a horse cock, only much smaller. I watch too many vet shows. I swear. But so yeah, she claims that Phil stiffed her, no pun intended, on the money. So this is the article she links on her blog, on her little fucking site here. In 2017, a friend who I was a fan of for many years asked if he could book me for a girlfriend experience. I said, sure, why not? First 2 weekend visits went great without any problems, and he paid nicely up front and paid for travel expenses. Third visit, however, which happened in December, he asked upon my arrival if he could pay half up front and half later, which I said okay, since he had paid perfectly the first 2 times. However, as soon as I got home, he called me and asked for an extension on the payment because he was having financial problems. Well, we know Phil's having financial problems. I had no reason not to trust him, so I gave him an extension until January 2018. However, a day later, he decided to completely break off all contact with me, which alarm bells began to ring off. Tried to call him, text him, email him, tweet him, but he had blocked me off of everywhere. So I was correct. He tried to screw me over and not pay me. Now, I warned him up front that I'm a very nice and gentle person, but do not try to fuck around with my money. You know, fuck around with a hoe's money. I guess he is go to a forum. I'm sorry. I guess he thought he could get away with it. I skipped a line down there. I guess he thought he could get away with it. So I had to resort to the one thing I didn't want to do, which is go to a forum which is full of people who hate him, and I posted there a lot of things to pressure him to contact me. That worked because the people on the forum started going after him on Twitter and YouTube, and after 2 days he contacted me and he said he was sorry and he would continue making the payments. Now we are in 2018 and he finally paid me everything he owed. So for me to have to chase down a client that tried to screw me is finally over. Hang on. That is at the same time a warning to all future clients: do not try to fuck with my money. As for that client, I will never accept another booking from him ever again. He also lost a friendship with a friend that always defended him, but after reading a lot of research about the kind of person he is, no wonder people hate him. All right, but whatever. So she doesn't even say him by name, but she's then on Twitter saying that this is him. Let me go to Twitter, which I of course am not on, but hang on. Sorry, folks. Perils of the live stream. Let me see if I can find her fucking Twitter. I like this. I saw Mr. Mediker talking about this, and I was like, "Holy shit, dude!" Okay, so Kimberly Brink is her Twitter handle. For those of you playing at home, Kimberly spelled with a I-E at the end. So apparently the reason she started going after him again here in the last couple of days is, I guess Phil was talking shit about she's a liar and stuff like that. She is claiming that some of the pictures on Phil's Instagram of his quote-unquote girlfriend is her. Although the only one I saw was a girl from behind, and all you could see basically was her hair, which was red in the picture. Doesn't match her hair in any of these pictures. Phil's claiming this girl is full of shit. And let's be honest. Yeah, we all like to fucking shit on Phil. Phil's a dipshit. Okay, fine. It's entirely possible that this girl is absolutely full of shit. I mean, you never know with the anti-Phil community. I mean, I realize I'm sitting here shitting on Phil. So am I quote unquote part of that? Well, I don't really think so. I mean, everybody shits on Phil a little bit, don't we? But no, you know what I'm talking about. I mean, we all saw that like the Sons of Kojima were run by a bunch of fucking sociopaths and lunatics. So you never know if one of Phil's haters is like paying this girl to fucking say this shit. You never fucking know. Like, I bet you could go up to a hooker like this and say, here's, I don't know, $300 if you're fucking smear Phil publicly or something. You never know. Now, I mean, a girl could get sued doing that, so who knows? Like I said, though, it is entirely possible that this is all bullshit. And even if Phil did hire her as a hooker, the strap-on thing, I mean, that could easily be her just trying to further put salt in the wound, and that she's making up. So, I mean, I know I'm telling everybody there's no Santa Claus here, you know, because this is a fucking wonderful story and we all want it to be true because it's hilarious. But let's be real. This might be complete and utter bullshit, or it might be partly bullshit. I mean,
I don't know. It seems way too random to just be completely fabricated.
I'm sort of leaning in the camp of he did indeed hire her, but a lot of the dirty shit she's going to be talking about, the strap-on thing included, is exaggerated, if not fabrication. Like, he probably hired her for pitiful ass sex and then to like spend time with him. Like, that's probably what happened there. Phil doesn't strike me as interesting enough to be kinky, if that makes sense. Like, He's almost too basic bitch to even have fetishes.
Well, I do remember some of the comments he was making during his Let's Play of Metal Gear Solid 3, where he was saying stuff like "shove it up her ass" or "shove it up my ass" or something. Like, so he actually says that a lot when he did his crazy dumb sex talk.
Yeah,
back
but
then.
I think that's just like a 12-year-old thinking that stuff up the ass is funny or something. I don't know. Phil strikes me as a little too basic bitch to be dabbling in shit like that.
As Hartis said, the sweeter and more innocent a girl may seem, the greater the likelihood that she's been in a gangbang. So,
Well,
it's always the quiet ones you suspect.
It's always the quiet ones. So let's look, if you could maybe throw up something. I took a screen cap from her site, her booking information, and this is right above where she talks about booking me. Please let me know if you want to include urine or feces sex games so I can take the necessary medication for protection.
There's a medication to protect against urine and feces?
Yeah, I didn't know there was an anti-shit pill, but okay.
Maybe just antibiotics.
I don't know. Or maybe she just needs to like really double down on the fucking antidepressants to be dead inside. So I mean, here's the deal. Like, I'm trying to be fair to Phil. I know this is just too perfect. I know it's fucking, I'm telling everybody there's no Santa Claus here, and nobody wants to hear that. But I mean, we are all taking the word of a lady that gets pooed on for a living. So
you're being admirably cautious, Bechtloff.
I'm just saying, not so much a grain of salt as a golf ball sized chunk of rock salt needs to be applied to what she says. That said, though, if I was a betting man, and Lord knows I've bought a lottery ticket or two in my day, I'd say that it's probably at least half right. It's probably at least half true, what she said.
Well, consider that Phil has been in a somewhat enviable position for most men in his position. Now, he had a consistent girlfriend for, 10 years up until about early last year. So, lack of sex can drive a man crazy. And he was used to having regular sex since he managed to somehow have a girlfriend despite being a completely unlikable cunt.
Urine or feces sex games. Ugh. Fuck is wrong with people? I feel like we need common filth in here. Their love is just like your love. So let's go through the chat here. Oh, hang on one second, guys.
Thanks for that, Aaron Clary.
Sorry about that, solicitors. So he says people with scat fetishes need the firing line. I'm not gonna refute that. Somebody says when the oil sheiks are shitting on her face, she needs her medications. Apparently, she lives in what is it? Was it Norway or the Netherlands or some shit like that?
Hey, she lives there?
Somewhere like that.
She flew all the way to Cascadia, Washington, to fuck Darkside Phil. How much did he pay her?
That's another thing. See,
how much of his patrons' money did he waste on this?
The biggest reason I have a tinge of doubt here is because of where she lives, and I'm like, that's probably really, really pricey to be flying someone in for this shit.
I mean, there are obvious cases where a man will hire a hooker to cross state lines or country lines to fuck him. Elliot Spitzer famously did that 10 years ago. It's pretty common here in Europe, but transcontinental sex, That would come with a pretty hefty price tag, I would think.
And look, I mean, I hate to sound like I'm some fucking sex worker advocate here, but there's a slight difference between just a hooker and an escort, and it's a question of it's the difference between a steak and a hamburger, really. An escort, I mean, you're paying not just for the sex, but for the time, you're paying for the company, what have you, the girlfriend experience, as it were. And that's the kind of thing where you're talking of a baseline of, shit, I don't know, I'd have to say $500-600 at the absolute fucking cheapest.
Or to put it more crudely, DSP didn't just pay this woman for sex; he paid her to pretend she wasn't revolted by him.
Yeah, basically. But that, and interestingly enough, that's the more expensive stuff. Paying a woman to fuck you is considerably cheaper than paying a woman to pretend to be your girlfriend. Interestingly enough. And there's all sorts of psychological things you can analyze in that whole mess. The point being, though, we're talking about something that is inherently very, very expensive before you even take into account, a flight essentially halfway across the world.
Yeah, it would have been cheaper for DSP to fly to Berlin or one of those, or Amsterdam itself, and just fuck some hookers there. It would have probably been cheaper.
If he indeed did this, if he indeed spent this money on it, and look, I mean, let's be real. We've all spent money on dumb shit, even when we shouldn't. But the point is, if he actually spent this money on it, then this sort of shows that his financial problems are probably massively overstated, just for like constantly getting people, oh, you got to help me kind of thing.
Or he just has absolute shit spending habits and has no.
Oh yeah, maybe he's just
financial control.
Yeah, that could be it.
I mean, addicts will typically squander their last pennies on a jab of heroin. So,
yeah, I suppose that's right. Perhaps I'm applying too much common sense. Or
if DSP had good financial sense, he wouldn't be in this position to begin with. I'd like to add something else here too. Depending on what this woman did when she got to the States, DSP may have committed a federal crime. The Mann Act makes it illegal to transport women across state borders for immoral purposes.
Plus, even that aside, this has to be a crime in Washington. I don't believe prostitution is legal in Washington.
Yeah, it's only legal in certain parts of Nevada. But this would be like the most obvious way to nail him. I know that's what Spitzer was guilty of, because he paid the woman to go from D.C. to New York, or New York to D.C., or whatever it was.
Now, again, with escorts, you can.
Yeah. The legal fiction that escorts use to distinguish themselves from straight up hookers is that when you pay them, you're not paying them for sex. You're paying them for companionship, and any sex that happens is purely accidental.
Yeah, you're paying them for their time and companionship, and then it's a bit of a loophole, but people have successfully argued it in court. And again, I think it's bullshit, because while I would argue an escort is very, very different than a hooker, only in that a steak is different than hamburger. It is essentially the same thing. It's a question of quality, essentially.
I wouldn't even make. I wouldn't go nice with that distinction. The difference between a hooker and escort is the difference between Spam and a steak.
Well,
escorts usually have all their teeth. They also typically aren't, heroin or crack addicts.
So let's see what we got going on in chat here. Oops, my dick is in this escort. Yeah, it's just by accident. Let's see. Somebody says it would have been easier if he'd gone to the bunny ranch. Yeah, that's the weird thing. I mean, again, Phil is kind of a dipshit, but I can't imagine, like, If you wanted to get an escort, why would you get one from across the fucking world? You know, there's got to be an easier way.
Nevada isn't terribly far from where he is in Washington. He could drive to the thing with Nevada is that prostitution is only legal there in rural counties. But even still, he could have made it a weekend trip. Go to the Bunny Ranch. It's not like he's doing anything else with his time.
Somebody says, and I felt stupid for once buying a chocolate bar when I only had $20 in my wallet.
Or if he was super into the GFU experience, like I said, in Germany they have legalized prostitution, and they have these things called FKK clubs, which are basically like they're saunas and like all expense paid resorts where you just lounge around in your bathrobe and eat and enjoy and work out and stuff. The only difference is they have naked women running around who will charge you a little extra for sex, and they cost like €100 for the entire day. He could have done that instead, and he would have been able to fuck way more women than just one.
Mm-hmm. Somebody said Bechtloff fucking Kirby ringtone. No, that actually wasn't my phone. Hey Bechtloff, did you hear about California seceding from its alpha? Somebody sent me an article about that. I haven't had a chance to look through it. I'll be very curious to know where this goes. And as I said, I extended an invitation to this girl, this young lady, for lack of a better term, and to come on here. I'd love to interview her. As I said, I have tinges of doubt here, so there actually would be some tough, hard quitting questions. But it would be but we all know she's taken worse. But it would be an interesting interview, and I will say up front that if I did get her on, I would extend the same courtesy to DSP. He would be welcome to come on here and refute anything she said. He won't, but I mean, he thinks he's somehow too good to go on anyone else's channel, let alone a small one like mine. And he supposedly charges. He said they want like $800 for an interview, which charging for an interview is kind of ridiculous in the first fucking place. But $800, you're out of your damn mind. I don't think you pay. Did this girl charge you that much for that amount of time? I mean, really, DSP.
Luke, where did you find that image? Holy shit, that's funny.
Google search FKK.
I assume that the other ones were not safe to stream.
No, they were not.
It's okay though. Luke has a Teflon soul. You could show him anything.
Well, these are like
he's just unfazed by it.
Well, these are just like regular sex clubs. So like the freakiest thing they do is like semi-public sex in these things.
Nobody's pooing on anybody else.
Not to my knowledge.
Oh man, I started reading that and I thought it was gonna read like I guess my hope springs eternal. I thought that sentence was gonna end with go find someone else. If you had to, but nope, there it is. Oh. Bug hooker mechanics.
Bugged sexual release mechanics. Hank Williams Jr. asks, Matt Forney, how would DSP fare in the Philippines? If he couldn't get laid there, I'd suggest he'd go kill himself. That's the same advice I give to all men who can't get laid there.
But
that too would have been cheaper than than hiring this hooker. If he wanted to go pay for play in the Philippines, he'd probably spend maybe a third of what he spent on that. The biggest expense he'd have is the plane ticket.
We got to be talking thousands of dollars. I mean, you include the travel expenses. I'd be shocked if it's under $5,000. And I mean, that's for a fucking weekend.
Yeah, you can't just with the flights, you can't just fly up between Western Europe and the U.S. on a whim. Like when I was looking to go when I relocated to Europe last year, I was looking to fly British Airways through London to Budapest, and I balked when I saw that the price for a ticket was $2,500, a one-way ticket. And this chick was coming from Amsterdam. She got you know where I'm going with this.
Medicare's going back and forth with somebody on here. Bright Side Viking. I guess that's one of Phil's fans or something.
There's a real question is who's going to have a worse 2018, Spoonie or DSP?
Well, I hope Spoonie, but it looks like Phil's in the lead.
Well, the thing is, we don't know what's happened to Spoonie ever since his Twitter got
suspended. Spoonie might be fucking dead, in all fairness. I mean, there's at least a 10% chance Spoonie is fucking swinging by a noose in his apartment right now.
Well, I figured that his girlfriend would update us if he was. Now, without his Twitter to rant about Trump, he might actually go out and kill some motherfuckers. He'll be the first man to ever attempt a spree killing with a ballpoint pen, because that's the only sharp object that he can handle.
Yeah, I'm sure his girlfriend's even hit all the scissors. Okay, I'm not the only one that thought that dildo looked like a horse thing, because Medicare was saying that too. That didn't look like a human cock. Okay, somebody's saying his entire forum and patrons are getting doxxed.
I pointed that out too. Medicare was pointing that out.
I didn't hear about that. Or I probably did read through it, just didn't notice. James wants to hop in. I'll send him a link.
I just looked up something astounding. I'm on Spoonie's girlfriend's Twitter. She has not mentioned him at all. At all. The last mention she had of him was from last month, was when they went to go see The Last Jedi.
They don't like each other. I think they're just
they're
living together or something.
They're roommates at this point.
Oh yeah, that Medicare posted a video. Spoonie and her did some sort of Christmas little message, not even a video. And I mean, they just have open contempt for each other. Yeah,
they're living together because they're too broke to move out. Spoonie's case particularly, I mean, I went over this on the stream we did about Medicare's video a few months back when we all had, Razor Fist on. And I pointed out that part of the reason Spoonie's in the state he is because he uprooted himself. He lived in Arizona his entire life, surrounded by family and friends and people he knew from when he was growing up. And he uprooted and he moved to the Chicago suburbs, where he basically has no one and he's in an unfamiliar environment, which probably contributed to his, which considering his existing mental state was not a good thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I've moved around most of my adult life. Like, the longest I've lived in any one place was I lived in Albany for about 2.5 years, and I lived in Chicago for about 2.5 years. So I'm used to psychologically moving around, but for someone who's been living in the same place their entire life, that actually rewires your brain. Spoonie moving out of Arizona was probably one of the dumbest things he did for this chick who isn't even that good looking.
Yeah, it's a challenge. I mean, look, people can, if you're moving out for something good, you got a really good job lined up. It is a really good relationship. I don't think Spoonie was well to begin with either. That's the problem. I don't think Spoonie was doing too hot before he fucking moved out of Arizona. I think this guy's been going steadily downhill for probably a decade in his mental state. I don't think he's the kind of guy that really ever could handle. First of all, he doesn't like what he's doing. He always saw himself as some sort of TV or movie star. Now, whether or not that's even fucking all that much better than being a YouTuber these days, who the hell knows? At least on TV. But he always thought this was really going to just take off. And when it became apparent that, he was just going to be doing the Spoonie experiment forever, I think that's when he just subconsciously shut down and began to like self-sabotage it.
Well, does anyone here want to guess how many Dollary Doozy makes a month now?
What are we at now? 578 last I looked.
540. It's down to 5.
Ooh, it went down.
That's a surprising good turn of events. I mean, his last message.
How many actual patrons is it?
It
was 160 something.
170. He's got 170 patrons.
I think Darkside Phil has like slightly more patrons, but not by much. He's still in the one something too. He's still under 200, and Darkside Phil makes basically twice what Spoonie does.
Well, actually, he makes Spoonie makes nothing. So
Well, 540. Darkside Phil is.
I thought you meant in terms of content.
No, money.
That has to really sting because DSP actually puts out content, but he's making barely more than Spoonie is.
Well, no, he's making twice. But I mean, Spoonie was respected. DSP was never really respected. So now, whether Spoonie ever deserved that is a different question. But it is what it is, as DSP would say. He was respected. I don't know, man. If I was somebody like Spoonie and I'm looking at DSPs making fucking more money than me, that'd be like a wake-up call. Yeah, so with only 16 more patrons, DSP's basically making twice as much. So not only is DSP making more, has more patrons, but the patrons are on average sending him twice as much. I think most of Noah's fucking money is from guys that like the donations are under $10 a month or something, and they just forgot about it.
Which probably neighbors who don't want him to shoot up the area. It's his last message was so cryptic though. It's like, that the insurance companies, they don't care about if it's a fucking murder suicide.
Well, there was also the one where he threatened to attack Sheriff Clark, which is hilarious too. Because he said he responded to something Clark said about how lefties were coming after him, and he says like, "Oh, you ain't seen nothing yet, buddy. I'll kick your ass so hard you'll piss your own shards." The most laughable threat ever. Considering
it's fucking hilarious. Like this fucking basement dwell. This fucking I don't even mean troll in the internet sense. I mean troll as in lives under a fucking bridge. Is going to go after this guy.
Look at him now. I've seen kids with leukemia look healthier than Spoonie.
Yeah.
Like he honestly looks like he's going to die of alcohol poisoning or, just lack of medication. Because I know he's got several disorders. He looks like he's on the last road.
He's got fucking every disease in the book.
He'll probably die in some really gay ass way, like drowning in his own phlegm from sleep apnea. I know he was complaining about having to have a CPAP machine a while back.
Okay, he's got a CPAP machine. Motherfucker, you were in your 30s. You should not be this unhealthy.
Having a CPAP machine is pretty much a sign of failure all around. But if you have a CPAP machine in your 30s, time to hang it up.
Yeah, you're in trouble, man.
That's the thing. I wouldn't even say DSP should have been a wake-up call. You look at, was it Pissed Jose? Like, his content, I don't like Spoonie, but his content is clearly just easier and more inferior. And you look at, I think he's in the millions of subs, if I remember correctly. Good old Angry Joe.
Well, that's another guy. God bless him. He puts out the content. And it's never, like, if you were a fan of him, there's no reason not to be now, unless you just wised up. Because the content is at the same level it's always been. And that's the thing you can say about DSP. I mean, again, you can question the quality of that content, as he likes to say. But I mean, DSP he's at least at the same level he's always been on quality, and he is churning it out. I mean, he is. What was it? Angry Video Game Nerd once said? Not just a not just a shit machine, but a machine gun ass firing out turd after turd after turd.
I didn't
look
realize...
at the contempt on both. Look at her face. Oh my god! Look at that. That's like some sort of Married with Children-esque sitcom about like just a fucking broken couple that hates each other.
That's the look. That's the look you see right before the woman starts cruising for dick.
Well, after the mass shooting, I think the Coen brothers are probably going to make a film on this.
I love and look at the distance between them too. Like, you know, they aren't even pretending to have any sort of physical affection for each other.
That is rough.
Give him one credit. It's a nice Big Trouble in Little China t-shirt.
Wait, what's that on his t-shirt?
That's Big Trouble in Little China. Don't you
Oh,
see Jack?
shit.
Yeah, you've got Lo Pang on the neck.
I see that now, yeah.
But no, Pissed Jose's nearly 3 million subs. I didn't even think it was that high. I thought it was only like barely a million.
No, I knew he was in it. I knew he was in the millions.
Well, I think he was probably the only major success from what do you call it? From oh god, what's that old graveyard site called?
Channel Awesome.
Yeah, Channel Awesome. Well, what the fuck was it? Channel? Was it something else before that?
That guy with the glasses was the name of the site.
Yeah.
I guess Channel
basically
Awesome was
that.
the company.
Yeah.
Or the
I mean, even that fucked
or
up.
whatever you want to call it. And they were so weird. Like, and then when they first went back on YouTube, when Bling shit the bed, or Blip shit the bed, I mean, then they called themselves the League of Extraordinary Critics or something like that. It's like,
yeah.
you don't understand the concept of keeping your brand streamlined.
Yeah, I mean, they could have actually kept with that guy. That domain would have been more recognizable because let's be honest, 95% of the time, if you were to ever go on that website, it was for a Doug Walker video.
Yeah, I still remember one of their biggest early failures when they tried to spin off into a site called Bar Fiesta, which would be exclusively about Chicago nightlife. You know, because the same people who are interested in watching geek shit really care about the best bars in Wicker Park.
Well, I'm sure a lot of the hipster fake geeks maybe do, but I mean, those are the ones watching Lindsay Ellis's shit.
Be quite interesting though for a Periscope version episode of that sort of thing where Doug Walker basically gets a Glock dumped into him by a criminal.
Somebody says, I guess regarding Spoonie's girlfriend, I wouldn't fuck that with DSP's dick and Amazing Atheist pushing.
I don't think she's that terrible. She's not that terrible looking.
She's better than Spoonie deserves.
Yeah,
she's above his league.
Yeah, the face is a little chipmunky, and you know the hair is kind of gross, but she's skinny at least.
See, I'm old enough to remember when like the weird color hairs used to mean that a girl was quirky and fun. Like now it's a big old warning, like fucking bright colors in the wild, like predator. You know, this is poisonous.
Like Spoonie's girlfriend before this, the Rose chick, whatever her name was, she was fat. She was fucking fat. So he traded up here.
I mean, yeah, I could see getting on that. But I mean, like I said, it's better than Spoonie deserves. But,
I'm looking at the YouTube page of League of Super Critics. I noticed that the logo is basically the restricted logo that you normally get when you're not allowed to have content or in trouble with the YouTube channel.
Yeah, they actually had problems recently, if I remember correctly. Well, not recently, about a year ago. It went with, because again, YouTube's always had fucking funny things with DMCAs and demonetization. But I think something happened to them similar to that, and they were complaining.
Well, the biggest problem with YouTube's process is that, I mean, you got to be huge to get anyone's attention, and you know it's all automated, and you're guilty until proven innocent, and that kind of shit. I mean, look, you can, if somebody just uploads a movie, yeah, that's obviously copyright theft, but reviewing a movie is fair use. You can certainly argue the quality of these reviews, but the point is reviewing a movie is fair use.
Yeah.
This idea, oh, you had a clip of my movie. Yes, we were discussing it. We were reviewing it.
Yeah.
I mean, shit, I've gotten the automated messages. Usually if I play video, and if it's anything that's got tons of views, we get the automated messages partway through the stream that say, you have to stop doing this or we'll shut the stream down.
Well, it's better than what they did before, whereas they let you stream whenever you want, but then they just take your video offline as soon as you were done streaming.
Yeah, I had that happen to me a while back.
Hmm.
It's funny. Like the only way I could figure, when they did that to me, I could play the stream, but it was restricted and nobody else could see it. Right. So the only way I could think at the time to fucking get it back up was I just recorded, like I just played the stream and then recorded it in Audacity and threw up the audio. And I said, look, guys, I know the audio is shit, but it was the best I could do. YouTube fucked me over. If you want to listen to it, here it is. And there's actually a scene like partway through where my now departed dog Loki is like whimpering partway through because he's hearing my voice and thinks I'm in the room.
Well, did you got if I remember correctly, didn't you get DMCA'd for the for Ghostbusters, the trailer footage, if I remember? Like not the film, the fucking trailer.
That is what the hell hit the thing. And it was Sony. And it wasn't like a full DMCA, it was just like we've just taken this video down. It wasn't a strike against my channel. But
shit happens all the time.
And it's bullshit. We were discussing it, a small clip of a trailer went up but no, Sony had that shit automated, and YouTube just rolls over for them.
Well, that's the weird thing because it's the trailer. It's already in the public domain. It's not something you can monitor. You can't really monetize a trailer because that's not the point of a trailer. But it's not like you. I don't know, mate. They're always funny with the footage.
Yeah,
I reckon YouTube and places like that actually get the film in full prior to a film release, or let's say during or after. Just so that in case, obviously, people start uploading things on like Dailymotion or YouTube, they can say, right, we've got if anything matches it, we can just take it straight down. I wouldn't be surprised with how YouTube is that big.
Let's see what we got going on in chat here.
So they're big enough to notice a Sony trailer, but not big enough to notice those weird Disney-esque images used in those kitty images.
Yeah, you'd think maybe Disney could do something about that. Somebody says they let Family Guy streams go on for hours, but they give you DMCAs. I've noticed that too with tons of like cartoons of that nature, like Rick and Morty, Family Guy, Simpsons, Futurama, stuff like that. I get recommended these like 8-hour streams of just episodes and episodes being played.
Yeah, that's a weird thing I've noticed because people used to do like re-uploads of, let's say, things like Futurama, but it'd be like with a massive border and the image mirrored. And now I just see like countless fucking like 24-hour streams of Rick and Morty. Like, fuck me, my brain can't handle this. Like, my IQ can't get any bigger.
That feel when too intelligent.
Let's see. Going through the chat here. Maxine Waters to boycott Trump's State of the Union. He does not deserve my attention. Oh yeah, was that tonight? Is the State of the Union tonight?
Nah, I figure it'd be around like next week.
No, but yeah, I mean, who the hell cares? It's Maxine Waters. Trump probably just responded, "Good, I didn't want her there anyways." Saves me the trouble of not inviting her. Somebody says Angry Joe isn't that bad, but yeah, he's unethical in a lot of ways. Well, he's a fucking moron, first of all. Angry Joe has a very infectious energy about him. And again, as I've said, a lot of these guys, that they seem like your buddy is one of the biggest appeals of them. If Angry Joe would have had like somebody actually write him a script and he performs it, somebody who knows what the fuck he's talking about, his show would be amazing. Yeah. But he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. He bullshits his way through reviews with just platitudes where, the most generic fucking platitudes. The handful of times he's really had a chance to call out, like Jeff Keighley has routinely pushed Joe's shit in numerous fucking times. And look, I get it. We all get nervous and shit, and we all forget, and we all stumble. We all make fools of ourselves sometimes. Okay. I'm certainly no exception to that. But I think it's been like 3 times Jeff Keighley has fucking pushed Joe's shit in publicly.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean it's become like a Saturday morning cartoon. Like Joe flies away, like I'll get you next time, Jeff.
Well, how can you stand up to the Dorito Pope himself?
And that's before even the fucking white knighting for Anita that he did, which in my eyes is inexcusable. Any fucking game reviewer or whatever that fucking white knights for Anita, you're done in my eyes. You're done. Like you've picked your side, and that side is not with the people you claim to represent.
He seems like the sort of dude he'd be fun to have sort of a beer with or playing some Mario Kart, but he's not that good. I mean, I agree with the whole likability. He's a very likable guy. It's just you get any sort of when he tries to go into the big leagues, like what was the thing Jeff Keighley was doing? It was like the Game Awards, if I remember correctly, and they're still trying to do them. Like he just got slammed down because he doesn't know what he's talking about, and he doesn't. Because I remember him. Was it, for example, oh, you guys don't have an RTS category, and Jeff was like, yeah, we do. We added one this year.
Well, I know. Brilliant. I'm pretty sure there was 3, but there were 2 ones I actually saw, and I heard there was a third that he actually managed to talk one-on-one with him on camera. And there's one where I think they're at like a con, and Joe's somebody in the audience asking a question, and he's saying something, and Jeff is just making a fool out of him. And Jeff finally called him. He's like, this is the second time you come at me, guns blazing, but no ammo, or something like that. Like.
The Pope Doritos the third. Mind you, though, seeing those pictures, I don't know if you've seen those early pictures with Jeff Keighley, I think in early noughts, with Gabe Newell, actually seeing him with a genuine smile, then just putting that picture next to the part where he's with the giant Halo 4 Doritos and Mountain Dew picture, and the fact he looks like he wants to kill himself.
I think the only thing that brings Jeff Keighley joy at this point is pushing Joe shit in.
Just counts each day.
Like every time Joe asks him a question, you just see Jeff beam with excitement. Like, oh, here we go. I get to fuck this retard up a little bit. It's the only time I look good. Let's see. Going through the chat a little bit here. John Steele says, "Who has banged Anita?" I'm gonna guess whichever black guy knows Jonathan McIntosh is who's banged Anita. So he says, "Forney, are you ever moving back to the U.S.?"
No.
That's good enough.
Should I? Do you think it's a good idea? I don't.
Yeah. If you're going to, you better soon, because we're not gonna let no foreigners in after a while.
Yeah.
Hey, I am no foreigner. My ancestors have been on the North American continent since the 1600s.
Canada doesn't count.
Trump's just like, your ancestors can suck it. You were on the other side when I built the wall.
Also, I have Native American ancestry. I may have Native American ancestry, so my ancestors were here before all of you pale faces.
So you're 164 Cherokee?
Not even. More like I have exactly one squaw ancestor.
I'm 132nd Cherokee, actually.
Really?
Yep. I've it's unclear, but like the suspected thing was that great grandfather or whatever actually won his wife in a poker game with the Indian chief.
And these are the same people who bitch about how the Dutch bought Manhattan for only $24. Trade your daughter away in a poker game.
Good old New Amsterdam. Dude, Weed, Lamau, 2, Electric Boogaloo.
See. Potato Native American ethnic state. Let's see. What else we got going on here? Nothing else in the chat. I'll probably wrap this up soon. I just wanted to get on here and talk about the hooker story because it just made me laugh so much. I wanted to talk about it. Like I don't even know if it was that entertaining of a stream, but I wanted to talk about it. As I said, I'm hoping I could get this young lady. I'm using that term a little loosely, but there it is. On to discuss these allegations, and as I said, I would happily extend the same courtesy to Phil. Although let's be real, he's not going to do it. Damn it!
Mind you, DSP looks like Ricky Gervais if he had a stroke on the left.
It's been now known that Bechtloff is a T-Mobile plebe.
Sorry, took my headphones out. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see if anything comes of that. That'd be interesting to interview to get. All right, folks. So if you enjoy the content, do check out the PayPal and the Patreon.
If you enjoyed the quality content.
Yeah, or you can support me, and I assure you, I am not spending any of it on Netherland whores. So that is my pledge to you. None of my Patreon is going to foreign hookers. That's my solemn pledge to all my supporters. Yet. Well, you notice I said foreign, because we're all about MAGA here. But no, seriously, if you enjoy the show, check out the PayPal, check out the Patreon, consider supporting the show. And I mentioned this morning, I'll mention it again. Saturday, the 27th, not this Saturday, next Saturday, is the return of the Saturday live stream. Rising from the ashes like a mighty phoenix. So yeah, do mark that on your calendar. That'll be 8 p.m. on the 27th. And I'm gonna try and get some special guests for it. We'll see. We'll see what I can do there. We'll see what I can scrounge up. But since it's a return to form, I'm hoping it'll be a particularly good show. All right.
To spoil it, he will be interviewing Beardsley.
That's
He's trained in Aristotelian rhetoric, you know. He understands the logical points of a debate like no one else.
Based Comstein.
No, I'm gonna get that escort on, and it's gonna be the all escort hour. The first show, we're just gonna interview a random escort, not just her, just random escort. We're gonna get some prostitutes and some porn stars in here. We're just gonna interview them,
and
they've been pooed on.
And I guess for the final segment, you're gonna have millennial woes.
Well, yeah, he's gonna because they're all white women, so he's gonna defend their honor.
My bad, man. My bad. You know, woes if you're listening.
I just realized.
We're just kidding.
I just realized Chris just said I'm going to get an escort. Just quote mime that and put that everywhere.
Tons of escorts. Let's see. All right, I think I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. Yeah. So, guys, thanks for hopping in here for this impromptu live stream. We discussed the pressing issues of whether or not DSP hired a hooker. It's more fascinating than it should be to me. But yeah, that's all we got for tonight, folks. I want to thank you all for listening. Bechtloff out.